Hello children. Children, how would it sound like if there is an international body looking after every country's trade? There will be things going in quite orderly manner, right? It is very important that some body exercises a fair control over international trade. This mindset that we are discussing just now, that we are understanding just now, was thought by United Nations, and there was a body called WTO, World Trade Organization, set up. When it was on the 1st January 1995 that this body came into being. And where is its headquarters? It is situated at Geneva, Switzerland. This body is set up, as the name says, World Trade Organization. Trade means buying and selling. World trade means the trade between various countries, and this organization, World Trade Organization, looks after every country's trade. It has got some objectives, it has got some importance, and our country, in fact every country, has got huge benefits out of this body. What? Let us discover. So the first is objective, why it is set. So first, it is set to remove all the obstacles. If India says that China cannot sell X commodity in India, China says India cannot sell Y commodity in India, the trade will not go smooth, right? So in order to remove trade barriers, in order to remove the obstacles, this WTO is set. The first objective is to remove the obstacles. To remove the protection policy. Many a times, like recently in news we heard that India has stopped importing certain equipments from various countries. So that's a protection policy. Why protection? So that those things will be manufactured in India only. Many a times, many countries, they give so much of protection to their country industrialists that they hardly allow other countries to come into the country to sell, and then that's not a fair globalization, right? So WTO tells every country to review its protection policy. Only those areas, essential areas where other country players can harm people's interest, are only allowed to be protected. To coordinate with global trade policy and economic policy. So what here it has to do is what the global trade wants to do and what a country's economy is, pairing is done by WTO. Now we know that 16th century was Portuguese century, 17th was Spain's century. With the passage of time, it is believed now that 21st century is globally Indian economy's century. So in this time, what our economic policy should be, how our country should react with global trade, for this suggestions are given by WTO. And yes, this is all about policy and protection and the trade barriers. But then what if there are two countries into dispute? We already studied in our history that how World War I and II happened, and there was a factor called trade factor also. Many countries' sentiments were hurt because of trading problems. So because of trade conflicts, some other war does not happen. In order to prevent that worse condition, the trade disputes are solved by this middle body called as WTO. It always mediates. And since it's a world trade organization, every country is bound to follow them, to accept what they say, right? Now what are the functions? What this WTO does? This is why it is set up. What are its objectives? What it will do? Now what it actually does? It sets up required structure for implementation of agreement. Whenever between two countries any agreement takes place, how smoothly it will work, for that a structure, maybe norms, they are set up, they are helped to be set up by this body called WTO to play vital role for debate and negotiation for multinational trade What here this says, when two countries, two parties, they are negotiating with each other, so to come up with a better deal which benefits both the nations, they become a middle person, they become a mediator for both the country. WTO encourages unbiased international trade, because my country is in good terms with X country, so I will want that country only to sell in my country, and I will also sell to that particular country only, is biasedness. So WTO believes that be unbiased with when it comes to trade with any nation. So it helps, it promotes this unbiasedness feature. And sometimes it really helps children. We really do not know, when we enter into trade with some unknown country without being biased, it might turn out to be a very fruitful and beautiful journey for both the nations, right? And the last one is, it suggests required improvements in trade policy of nation. Each nation makes their own trade policy about what restrictions they will put. Say suppose the pickle that we eat in India is not allowed in USA. It is not because the US government is very choosy or particular or does not want pickle to be promoted. It is because of the allergen issues with the citizens. So in order to protect the good health, in order to protect the health of the US citizens, they ban on certain products. So same way, every country's geography, demography, people's health is considered while making policy. And when this policy is framed up, WTO tries to make amendment, helps in coming up with better policy. So these are the services, these are the functions that WTO gives to all the member nations. And now what did India got benefited with is here. India's contribution in world trade was 0.5%, which increased to 1%. So earlier India, whatever import and export, whatever global trade takes place amongst all the countries on globe, the proportion of share of Indian trade was 0.5%, which due to the help of and due to the mediation of World Trade Organization got doubled. From 0.5% it became 1%. 1% sounds quite less, isn't it children? The way we have potential, the way we have spirits, and most importantly the way nature has blessed us with resources, we should be doing at least 10 more here, 10% of the global trade. We really hope it happens. So yes, WTO has helped us double our global trade. Export of ready-made clothes and agro products has increased. Since India today also is an agrarian nation, because majority of Indian population depends on agriculture, on primary sector, and since our GDP share, the agriculture sector gives a strong GDP share also, and even in exports we have got a huge share. And along with that, you have to remember here is ready-made clothes. We manufacture ready-made clothes, specifically cotton clothes, for so many countries. And FDI has increased foreign reserves. So since globalization also, like we learnt in the previous class, that globalization promotes other countries' investor to come in our country and invest. According to today's news only, so many companies from different countries want to invest in India. They are coming up with 10,000 crore project, they are coming up with 15,000 crore project, and specifically into mobile phone segment, it was mentioned in the news today that they are wanting to come in India. So when all these foreign companies come in India, they bring in their capital, they bring their technology, and most importantly, they don't bring their manpower. So all Indians get employment opportunity, government also gets benefited with foreign investment, economy gets a boost. It's a win-win condition, right? So here WTO again plays its role. They help a smooth transit of foreign direct investment into any country. It looks into the benefit of the nation and the foreign investors as well. So yeah, these are the objectives why WTO started, these are the functions that it is already doing, and these are the benefits that India has got because of WTO. I hope that WTO is quite clear with you. coming up with the last video of this chapter, that is sustainable development. Stay tuned. Bye bye.